Hello everyone. Today my partner and I are going to discuss two fundamental concepts in second language pedagogy: focus on forms and focus on form. These concepts come from research on how grammar teaching actually affects language development. Understanding the difference between these two approaches is essential for future language teachers because it determines how your students will learn, process, and ultimately use the language in real communication. In this part of the presentation, I will explain each concept clearly and then I will connect each one to what it means for your future teaching practice. Let's begin with focus on forms with an S. According to the chapter, focus on forms is the traditional approach to teaching grammar. In this model, the curriculum is divided into discrete grammatical units. One day you teach the past tense, the next week the conditional, then relative clauses, and so on. The typical structure of this approach is: first, this teacher explains a rule. Then students practice it with control exercises. Then they move on to drills, fill in the blank activities, or transformation tasks. The focus here is strongly on accuracy. Grammar is taught explicitly, and the goal is for learners to master each form one by one. The chapter explains that this approach mainly develops explicit knowledge, that is, knowledge about the language. Students may know the rule, they may be able to explain it, and they may do well on written tests, but this does not always mean they can use the rule during real-time communication. Focus on forms does not change the learner's underlying processing strategies. They may still rely on meaning alone while listening or reading, and may still miss important grammatical cues.
So now, why does this concept matter and is valuable for us and also for future teachers? Well, understanding focus on forms help us realize the limitations of traditional grammar teaching. It is not useless. It has a lot of value. It can help raise students' metalinguistic awareness and also prepare them for exams or clarify complex structures. According to the chapter, this information is clear. If we rely on this method, our students will have a gap um, between what they know about the language and what they can actually do with the language. So, as teachers, we must use focus on forms in a really strategic way. It should be one tool in our toolbox, not the entire toolbox. Now, we will present to you an example of this method as a role play between the two of us. Okay. As the professor says, good morning. Today we're going to focus on the present perfect tense. Listen carefully to these sentences. I have visited Paris. She has eaten sushi. And they have finished their homework. Now, look at the structure. Can you see the pattern? We use subject plus have or has as the auxiliary plus the past participle verb. Remember, have goes with I, you, we, and they, and has goes with he, she, and it. Let me show you. I have traveled, he has traveled. Do you understand?
Yes, teacher.
So, and as control practice, let's give another example. Perfect. Now let's practice together. I'll give you the verb and you complete the sentence with the correct form. Ready? The first sentence is I blink see that movie. What's the answer?
I have seen that movie.
Excellent. Very good. Next one. He blink buy a new car.
He has bought a new car.
Perfect. You are using has with he. Great job. And one more. We blink study English for 2 years.
We have studied English for 2 years.
Correct. You've got the structure. Notice how we use how with we. Now in the semi-controlled production. I again as the professor. Now is your turn to create. Tell me something you have done in your life. Use the present perfect. For example, I can say, I have climbed a mountain. A mountain. How have you? Think of something and make a sentence.
I have traveled to Cusco.
Almost perfect. Just say, I have traveled to Cusco without the question mark. With confidence.
I have traveled to Cusco.
Excellent. That's exactly right. Can you give me another example?
Mm, she has watched that series.
Good try. Remember, tell me about you first. Use I have.
Oh, right. I have watched that series.
Perfect. Very well done. You're using the present perfect correctly now. Now, reword today. For homework, you're going to write 5 sentences about things you have done using the present perfect. See you next class.
Thank you, teacher. Goodbye.
Hmm? Now let's look at the second concept, focus on form, but this time without the S. This approach is very different. Instead of organizing the lesson around grammar, we organize it around meaning and communication, and the grammar appears only when it's needed. Focus on form is defining the chapter as a brief and intentional attention to a linguistic form that results inside a meaning focused activity. In other words, students are doing something communicative, maybe describing pictures, solving a task, or interacting with classmates, and the teacher highlights a form only when it becomes relevant. This attention can be planned or reactive. A planned focus on form happens when the teacher anticipates a difficulty and prepares a short intervention. And a reactive focus on form happens spontaneously when the teacher notices an error that interferes with the communication. The chapter explains that focus on form is more effective when it follows the principles of input processing theory. This means that the activity should require learners to process the grammatical form in order to understand the meaning. That is why structured input activities work so well. Students cannot interpret the sentence correctly unless they themselves notice the form.
And now, what does this mean for us as teachers? Focus on form is extremely valuable because it allows us to teach grammar without interrupting communication. Instead of isolating grammar, we integrate it into meaningful activities. This approach supports real acquisition because it changes how learners process the input. When the form becomes necessary for understanding, learners make stronger form meaning connections. This means we can help students develop not only explicit knowledge but also implicit knowledge, the type of knowledge they need to speak, listen, and read fluently in real life. For teachers, this translates into more dynamic lessons, more authentic interaction, and more effective learning episodes. So now we have here an example of focus on form,
Mhm.
and Allison will be the teacher.
That's right. Now, hi everyone. Today I want you to tell me about your own experiences. Think about interesting place you've been to or things you've done in your life. Let's start a conversation. What about you, Maria? Tell me about an interesting place.
I go to Machu Picchu last year. It was amazing.
Wow, that sounds incredible. What did you see there?
I see many ruins and mountains. Very beautiful.
Oh, that's wonderful. But when we talk about experiences in our life without a specific time, we can say, I have been to Machu Picchu or I have seen the ruins. Can you try it again?
I have been to Machu Picchu.
Yes, perfect. I have been to Machu Picchu. And what have you seen there?
I have seen many ruins and mountains.
Excellent, much better. And now, great. Now, tell me more. What else have you done in your life? Any other experiences?
I tried sushi one time.
Interesting. Did you like it?
Yes, it was delicious. I want to eat again.
That's great. Notice something. You said I try sushi. When we talk about experiences, we say I have tried sushi. Try it.
I have tried sushi.
Perfect. And you want to try it again. So we can also say I have eaten sushi before. The structure is have or has plus the past participle. Make sense?
Yes, teacher. Have plus past participle.
That's right. So now, can you tell me another experience using this form?
I have visited my grandmother in Arequipa.
Wonderful. Perfect structure. When did you visit her?
Last month, she cooked very delicious food.
Sounds tasty. You can say she cooked delicious food for the past, or she has cooked delicious food for me many times. Both are correct but different meanings.
Oh, she has cooked delicious food for many times. Yes, that's true.
Well, that's very well done. See, you're using it naturally now. Next. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you.